Hey there, it's me Eden. If you are new to the channel then please subscribe to my channel and visit my Patreon page for early access, link in the description. We pulled into the parking lot of the theme park. George and Gavin got out and went to get Melissa's buggy from the back in case she got tired later. While me and Debbie climbed out the back, Melissa already was straining at my hand to get on with her adventure. We purchased day passes for a family and for Debbie and Gavin. Once our bright yellow wristbands were securely attached to our wrists, it was off to start our day. We moved from ride to ride, some more daring than others, George, Melissa and I taking our seats in a variety of small metal cubicles as we were whirled around various rides at varying speeds, Debbie and Gavin usually closely behind us in the next cart. We had been riding various attractions for just over an hour when we reached what was probably the largest ride in the park, with water splash features and loop-the-loops that just terrified Debbie. "Look, you two guys go on with Melissa, me and Alex will watch and have a ciggy," she announced as we approached the ride. George looked at me. "You okay with that?" "Yeah, it's fine by me, you three go and enjoy yourself, I could do with a break," I replied. The guys walked off with Melissa hand in hand between them. Me and Debbie retreated to a bench and sat down. Opening our bags, we took out our cigarettes and both lit up. "Been a good day so far, I'm enjoying it. I think Melissa and George are as well," I said. "Yeah, it has, you three really look like a family together," she said. I blushed. "Debbie, can I ask you something?" "Yeah, shoot." "Is it illegal for cousins to become involved?" I blushed again as I took a draw on the cigarette. "You mean you and George?" Well maybe," I stammered. "You're only half cousins, aren't you?" "Yeah." "Well no, it's not illegal, unusual but not illegal. You thinking about making a play for George?" I blushed again. "I don't know, he seems happy with Amanda but we know she's not right for him. I mean, he's never given me any encouragement or sign that he's in the least bit gay or interested in me in that way, but recently he's been a whole lot more attentive and interested in me." "Well, there's only one way to find out, you need to talk to him," she replied. "I know, but I'm scared. I don't want to waste it all. I'm so happy here with them and with you as my friend, and I've never been more comfortable with myself than I am as Alex." "Well, if you are going to make a move you will need to do it soon," she replied. We sat in silence watching the two men and Melissa set off on the ride, finishing our cigarettes and laughing at their antics as the ride screamed upwards. Debbie glanced at her watch. "Me and Gavin need to nip away for an hour or so," she announced. "Why?" I asked, a bit surprised. "Well, you see that hotel we passed on the way in?" "Yeah," I said. "Well, we've arranged to meet a couple there for a bit of afternoon fun." I blushed. "Debbie Cairns, you shameless hussy," I said. She shrugged her shoulders. "What can I say? We met them at a swingers night a few weeks ago. Nothing happened, but they just live up the road and it was too good an opportunity to miss. She's got a great pair of upper parts, so pert, and a great ass. I just can't wait to get my hands on it." I blushed again. "So do you and the other woman get together?" I asked. "Yeah, usually starts out that way, then the guys become involved," she said, dropping her cigarette and crushing it out with her shoe. "So does Gavin ever?" I stopped. "What?" "Well, does Gavin ever get involved with the guys you know?" "Not often, but he has done. There was one guy." Too much information, let's just leave it there," I said. Out of the corner of my eye I could see the ride coming to an end and George and Gavin lifting Melissa out. Well, you enjoy," I said as we stood up. We'll be back in just over an hour. Anyway, give you and George a chance to talk maybe," she said as we walked towards the guys. We wandered along looking for somewhere to grab a snack. George was first to spot the La Bazaar bar. "What about in there?" he said as he pointed across the square. "Looks fine to me," I replied, taking a firmer grip of Melissa's hand. We walked towards it. "Want to get something to eat, babes?" I said, bending slightly towards her. "No play," she said, pulling at my hand. Later babes, me and Dad need a snack. Play, she insisted. George looked at me, looks like she's not hungry, but I could sure do with a coffee and a sandwich. Scanning the building, I noticed a sign, look, it's got a creche, maybe we could get something while she plays away. We could check it out, I suppose. I left Melissa at the door while I went inside to check on the facilities. A waitress stood just inside the door to escort people to a table. Excuse me, I noticed the sign on the wall, it says you have a creche, I inquired. Yeah, there's a full play area just round the corner, trampolines, climbing frames, shoots, the works. There are a couple of assistants that will look after the children till you have had your meal, she answered. Thanks, just round there, I said, gesturing with my hand. She nodded. A few minutes later we had left Melissa in the capable hands of one of the play's supervisors. She immediately made a dash for the chute, hardly noticing that we had left as we walked back towards the restaurant. Inside we were seated and gave the waitress our order as we sat facing each other at the table. I was desperately thinking of conversation to speak to George about Amanda when he broke the ice for me. You've been a bit quiet today, he asked. Have I? Anything on your mind, he pressed. There is a bit, but you will only get angry or fly of the handle like you usually do, I said as the waitress approached with our food and drinks. I guess it's about Amanda then, he asked. I nodded. God, Alex, we've been through all this before, he said, casting a gaze out the window as the waitress reached our table. That's just it though, any time I try to talk to you, you won't listen. Can I just get a couple of minutes without you going off on one, and I promise I won't bring it up again. George dropped some sugar in his coffee and lifting up the milk jug poured some in. Well, if it's going to lighten your mood a bit and bring an end to it, then go ahead, but I warn you I won't have you bad-mouthing Manda just for the sake of it, he said. I took a deep breath. Okay, look, I don't really know her that well, I've only met her a couple of times, but I just think that she's not right for you or Melissa. I don't doubt that she's attracted to you. I mean, you're a good-looking guy. A blush spread across my face. I went on, I just think though that she's not that interested in children or that good with them for that matter. I think that she might want you but not really the family. I can see her getting her feet under the table and then coaxing you to send Melissa away to maybe a boarding school or something, you know, one of those private fee schools. So have you any evidence, he asked. No, not really, but I know that she went to one and never stops raving about it to people. Who told you that? Debbie mentioned it and I think Pete did at some point as well. Well, she did, and yes, she did enjoy it, said it was the making of her, character building. Yeah, that may well be, but would you seriously consider sending Melissa to one? I mean, she loves the farm, the open air, the freedom, the animals. She needs a family around her and a mother and father to share those things with, not stuck in some dorm somewhere at home for just the holidays. Yeah, well, maybe you're right, but she's never suggested that to me, so for the moment she's not guilty. I sighed a bit. Last card to play, I thought. Did you know, for instance, that she made a play for Gavin? I asked. George looked up from his cup, a look of surprise on his face. Yeah, that's right, Debbie smacked her one a while back when she tried to seduce him. No, I didn't know, but that's in the past. She's with me now, she would not do that, he replied. Well, I had played my last card, so that was it. As much as maybe I had tried to wound the relationship, I think the last little fact had maybe just scratched the surface a bit, because it definitely made George think, but no more. Okay, I'll leave it then. You are a grown man and Melissa is your daughter, so it's your decision, but I just don't think that after Grace you should be apart. Okay, it's bound to happen that a good-looking guy like yourself would meet somebody else, but just be careful, neither of you can take another break up, so make sure you make the right choice for the right reason. I said. I ate the last of my sandwich and drank the last of my coffee. Maybe we better get back for Melissa, George said. Yeah, I suppose we should. I looked at my watch. Debbie and Gavin had been gone for over 50 minutes now. Hopefully they should be back soon. We got up and walked out of the diner and round to the play area. Melissa spotted us and darted across the play area to meet us, the play assistant close behind her. We reached the gate just as she did. "Have a nice lunch," the assistant said.
"Yeah,
"Thanks," George said. "She's a lovely child, so full of fun and happiness. She's a credit to you and you make a lovely family," the assistant said, casting her eyes across the two of us. Thanks," George said as he reached for Melissa's hand. "Thanks for taking care of her," I said as we turned to leave. "No problem, as I said, you have a lovely child there," she replied. We managed to take in one more ride before I spotted Gavin and Debbie strutting hand in hand across the theme park looking for us. Once more their lifestyle puzzled me. How could they be so in love but share their bodies with others, I thought, but who am I to judge? They are happy and content with their choices, and as Debbie frequently pointed out, what they got up to was no threat to them. The ride over, we joined them and set off to continue our day. We managed just a couple more of the attractions before predictably the Scottish weather began to fail and a heavy drizzle began to fall. George scanned his watch. "It's just gone 3:30, though we could have dinner at Cochrane's," George announced. "Fab, I love that place," Debbie said excitedly. "So want to head for it now, seeing as the rain has started?" I asked.
"Yeah,
"Let's go, meetings always make me hungry," Debbie said, winking at me. I dissolved into laughter. "What's the joke?" George asked. Nothing, just a girl thing," I said through giggles. "Women," George said as we started the trek back to the car. Please subscribe my channel for the next part. And visit my Patreon page for early access.